Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to our Backlog Cleared. Today I've cleared my Radiance backlog. Now obviously, as with Indicator and Deaf Crocodile for example, I will always be adding Radiance titles, but seeing I've caught up, I thought it'd be a good time just to go through the collection. I am complete in Radiance titles apart from one title. It's a film I really didn't like, so I did get rid of it, and that's Fill Up with Super. I know it's kind of been a love-hate film for a lot of people, and I certainly didn't like it, so I have moved on from it. But Radiance, who started January 2023, have just been knocking out of the park and continued to do so. I think they would probably be in most people's top 5 boutique labels already, if not their top 3, because for me they just do a wonderful job in extras and supplements, and also interesting films from certainly countries that interest me, like Italy and Japan for example. There's just so many Japanese and Italian films that need to be rediscovered or discovered, and they just mix in, some American films or French films as well. So I'm just going to go through the list. I'm not going to spend too much time. I did do a video ranking the first 12 Radiance releases on the channel, so you can go find that somewhere amongst this smorgasbord of ramblings. But we'll start in a title that immediately piqued my interest. I had seen it in a DVD, and that's Elio Petri's The Working Class Go to Heaven, which is spine number 1. When this was announced getting a Blu-ray, I was cock-a-hoop, because I do love Petri and I love Volante, again booklets, reversible artwork. And I have decided to put the little slip inside the release. I debated it so much. Number 2 is Kinji Fukasawa's original Yakuza Graveyard. I suppose the Graveyard of Honor, from 1976. So I would probably say, I'll probably maybe just go through the list and say which ones I would highly recommend. Certainly the first 2 I would highly recommend. Number 3 is Todd Solondz' Welcome to the Dollhouse. There's always the rumour that at some point Happiness will get a Blu-ray release, but obviously it's not a film that's going to have widespread appeal, but if somebody's going to do it, I think Radiance might do it. Welcome to the Dollhouse is fantastic. Number 4 is The Sunday Woman, with Mastroianni, Jacqueline Bisset and Jean-Louis Trintignant. Music by Ennio Morricone. Not perfect, but well worth a look, apart from anything else, due to the murder weapon and the murder mystery. Number 5, Miami Blues, which goes back to the VHS days, ironically, with the word video in that sign. It's really Fred Ward's film, even though it's kind of a breakout role for Alec Baldwin. Another fairly divisive film, I guess. Number 6, Rotasana, Red Sun. A wonderful German film about a bunch of women who kill some men. Number 7, a kind of modern film. Amy Seimet's She Dies Tomorrow, which has its moments. I would say it's good. There's some things I really like about it, some things I'm not so keen on. Number 8, A Woman Kills. This is an example of a film that was kind of believed lost. This is a French experimental murder mystery that I think is rather wonderful, and there's a bunch of short films on the release as well. Number 9, another wonderful discovery, Bo Widerberg's The Man on the Roof. This is Swedish, and Criterion after this released a 3-film set of Bo Widerberg. This is a cop procedural that leads to lots of surprises and is well worth checking out. Number 11, in partnership with MGM, this is Francois Truffaut's The Bride in Black with Jean Moreau, which is a wonderful little film about a bride whose groom is murdered on his wedding day, and she wants revenge on the people who did it. Another one of the first releases, and it's a stonker. It's number 12, and it's Big Time Gambling Boss. Lots of people in the community have talked about this one, so I don't need to. Another wonderful performance by Wakayama Tomosabiru, who we'll get to later. This is certainly an essential Radiance release. Number 13, again in collaboration with MGM. This is The Hotspot with Don Johnson, directed by Dennis Hopper. It's a wonderful little neo-noir, again from the VHS days. The first box set, so this is 14, 15 and 16, arguably one of the releases of 2023, Cosa Nostra, 3 Mafia Tales, Diamano Diamani and Franco Nero, The Day of the Owl with Lee J. Cobb, The Case is Closed, Forget It, and How to Kill a Judge. Each have their own Amine case and a lovely booklet. That's certainly a must buy. And number 17, again in partnership with MGM, Thieves Like Us by Robert Altman. Again, I'm not a huge Robert Altman fan. I think he is somewhat overrated. His films generally, for me, are way too long and meandering. But I've always liked Thieves Like Us. Again, it's probably a little bit too long, but I've always enjoyed it. Keith Carradine and Shelley Duvall. Keith Carradine's low-key, wonderful performances. Long Goodbye and McCabe and Mrs. Miller are both masterworks. Everything else by Altman, not a huge fan of. Number 18, probably one of the ones I was swithering about buying it or not, but I did eventually. Again, in collaboration with MGM, this is number 18, and this is Altman's O.C. and Stiggs, which is a coming-of-age high school kid film, which is a little bit different from the usual. Again, there's things that work in it, there's things that don't work in it. But I think there's like an hour and a half feature retrospective documentary about it, so which is well worth the look. Dennis Hopper appears pretty much as his character from Apocalypse Now, so it's good to know he made it back to America at some point. The second box set, 19, 20 and 21, this is Comedy La Italiana, which has Il Vedova, Il Mattatore and Il Sorpasso, again in their individual cases with a booklet. Il Sorpasso is almost a masterpiece for me, and Il Mattatore and Il Vivo are a lot of fun as well. If only they could get Big Deal in Madonna Street. I know Criterion own that, but that'd be great to get on Blu-ray. So that's another wonderful box set. Again, Radiance could just do Italian and Japanese, and I would be perfectly happy. This was a lovely surprise. Pasquale Spittieri's The Iron Prefect with Giuliana Gemma and Claudia Cardinale. Also I Am the Law, based on a true story, about a guy facing off against the mafia. Originally it was going to be Burt Lancaster that Squitieri wanted, and then he said, get me any actor except Giuliana Gemma, because he's obviously so used to his westerns, but he's absolutely fantastic in this, and this is another one that is highly recommended. Number 23, A Moment of Romance, a nice little Hong Kong film directed by Benny Chang. It's not that romantic, to be fair, which is a good thing. Number 24, this is quite the film. I did a random review of this. This is La Madre Muerta, or The Dead Mother, about criminals and disability. A young girl who was shot during a robbery. This catches up with her, and the guy who actually did it is convinced that she might be a witness. Goes to dark places. It's Spanish, but well worth a look if you've got a strong stomach. Again in association with MGM. Number 25, Scream and Scream Again, with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, and Vincent Price. I mean, what more do you want? Obviously in various size of roles, but this is good, clean fun. Look at the extras on it. There's a ton of extras, and this shows that Radiance can do lovely culty horror stuff as well. We'll get to that in a bit as well. Number 26, The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock, which recently got a 4K from Vinegar Syndrome, but this release is gorgeous. It also comes with 2 discs with different cuts of the film. It's one of my favourite necrophiliac films. Number 27, Visible Secret. This is Chinese, I believe, which is a lovely little ghost story. I'd highly recommend that one as well. And then this is certainly one of my films of last year that I saw. Just an amazing piece of work. This is Messiah of Evil. This is the limited edition version, and also the one you can buy a t-shirt with that image on, from Radiance. This is just a stunning piece of work. Lovely big booklet. Bizarrely, this was made by a couple who co-wrote American Graffiti for George Lucas. They would later direct Howard the Duck. But this is amazing, even with studio interference. It shouldn't work, but it does. It's a American Gothic set in a seaside town in California, which gives you vibes of The Fog. Obviously this was early 70s. It kind of looks forward to scenes in Dawn of the Dead, which was 78. It does echo Night of the Living Dead in places, and Carnival of Souls. It's a smorgasbord of influences and oddities, and man does it work. Again, perhaps not everybody's cup of tea, but if you like that kind of thing, it's an absolute stunner. So that's number 28. Number 29 is Le Combat de Lille, with Romy Schreider, Jean-Louis Trintignant, and Henri Serre. Alain Cavalier, who did fill her up with Super. So I was dreading this a little bit after I fill her up with Super, but it's a different kind of film. It's a nice little noir. I still wouldn't say it's brilliant or anything, but certainly more enjoyable for me at least than fill her up with Super. And then yet another box set. This is 30, 31 and 32 with amazing artwork. This is Polish science fiction, Peter Shulkin. This is War of the Worlds, Next Century, Obai Oba, The End of Civilization, and Gaga, Glory to the Heroes. These are all wonderful. Plenty of Jersey Sur. War of the Worlds. Great artwork. Lovely, lovely artwork. They're all satirical, they're all political, and they're all pretty wonderful. The production design in all of them is excellent. Building worlds with not a lot of money involved. This is well worth checking out if you're fans of slightly off-kilter science fiction. And then Heavens to Murgatroyd is another box set. This is World Noir number 1, or volume 1, which is really exciting because that suggests there might be a volume 2. So we've got Japan, Italy and France. I Am Waiting, which for a short time was my film of the year that I've watched, by Hurha Kiriyoshi, and Witness in the City by Eduardo Maranaro, and then The Facts of Murder by Pietro Germi, also starring Pietro Germi. And again, lovely big book. So Witness in the City by Lino Ventura, which is awesome. I Am Waiting, which, as I said, for a short period was my film of the year that I've watched, from 1957. And The Facts of Murder, starring and directed by Pietro Germi with Claudia Cardinale. Probably the weakest of the three, but by weak I mean it's maybe just a 4-star film. This is an absolutely fantastic box set. And then number 36, Elegant Beast, which I did a random review on, as I've done quite a lot of Radiance releases. This is Kawashima Yuzo, written by Kaneto Shindo, about a family of grifters essentially. Mainly shot in one apartment, but the number of camera angles and the dynamic use of composition is just absolutely stunning. And then we have number 37, The Sting of Death, from 1990, I believe. 1990, Oguri Kohei, about the breakup of a family. Not a film that I would watch that often, but it's really, really good. Another one that I did a random review of, this is 38, Goodbye and Amen. This is another Damiano Damiani film with Tony Masanti and Claudia Cardinale again. You think this is like a CIA spy film, and then it turns into something else when people get taken hostage, including Claudia Cardinale. Full of surprises and absolutely wonderful. If Radiance can keep releasing Damio Damiani films, that would be wonderful. As long as Petri and Petri Angeli. And we're back to Japan. This is number 40, By a Man's Face Shall You Know Him, the Kato Tai. Again, this is from 1966. We all know Japanese cinema in the 60s was an interesting place, and this is another lovely little film. Number 42, it's Kato Tai again, I the Executioner. This is another lovely little film, but it is an 18 for a reason, so don't let the kids watch it. Number 43, Black Tight Killers. Strangely enough, it's from the 60s. You would never guess with that cover, would you? This is almost a spiritual friend of Brandy to Kill and Tokyo Drifter by Suzuki Seijin. This is from 1966 as well. Look at those colours. Just a wonderful, fun little film, as you'd expect. And then number 44, something a little bit different. Alonso Fan, by the Taviani brothers. This is actually the first Taviani brothers film that I've watched. Perhaps not completely successful, but strangely wonderful, with Mastriani was involved with a bunch of revolutionaries, even though he realises he doesn't want to be one anymore. Fascinating film, perhaps a little overlong. Wonderful costume design, and Mastriani's fantastic. Number 45, another one I did a random review on. Again, I'm not paid by Radiance in any way. A story written with water, from 1965. It's the 60s again, by Yoshida Kiju, or Yoshida. Just an absolutely stunning film. Beautiful. Go and check out my review. I think it's less than 2 weeks old. And then another mini box set, what we say, 46 and 47. This is the Bounty Hunter trilogy, with Lone Wolf himself. This is 3 films by Ozawa Shigehiro and Kudo Ichi. Killer's Mission, The Fort of Death, and 8 Men to Kill. The booklet is inside Killer's Mission. And of course it's Wakayama Tomasabiru, who obviously was Lone Wolf and Cub. He was also Hanzo the Razor, and he was in Big Time Gambling Boss. I would say the first one is definitely the best, Killer's Mission. The Fort of Death and 8 Men to Kill have their moments, but they're probably just solid. But more Tomasaburo, of course, because he's just so wonderful. And certainly Killer's Mission for me is the best one out of the 3. And then finally, number 49. It's hard to believe that we're into the 50s now, with pre-orders coming, because they've already announced their April, May and June slate, and they continue to just kick things out of the park. This is Alain Delon and Tony Arzenta, or Big Guns, or No Way Out, by Duccio Tessari. This is perhaps a kind of by-the-numbers revenge film, but it's Alain Delon, and that's all you need to know. Has wonderful moments, and has an ending that perhaps you don't expect. Is Delon admiring his suppressor. Again, just, even though it's by the numbers, really enjoyable. And again, it's got an unsuspecting ending, an unpredictable ending perhaps, and it's Alain Delon looking cool as usual. So that's the first 49, even though there are some spine numbers missing, 39 and 41. Unless I've completely missed a couple of releases, but I think one of the releases was delayed to April. And as I said, I'm missing Filler Up with Super, which I think is number 10, just because I really severely dislike that film, so I'm not going to have it just to be complete. I'm trying to be sensible these days. So thanks very much for watching. Please let me know what your favourite release by Radiance is so far, which is obviously quite difficult to say, and hopefully you'll join me again for more backlog cleareds. As I said, this is a bit of a cheat because I'm going to keep collecting Radiance because they're just wonderful, but certainly that's me caught up with the first almost 50 releases. So thanks so much for watching. This is Solitude Ronin from Solitude Ronin Films, saying farewell.